I did this thing last year. I went to Neiman Marcus when it was still open. Is it Neiman Marcus? Yeah, downtown. And I got a bunch of the catalogs. It's very interesting. I went to get the catalogs and I got them all. I bought them back. And there was one specific catalog for the fall of last year. And I looked through it and I noticed two things. First, I noticed that on almost every page, if not every 4 pages, there was a woman who was posed in a manner that had her left hand behind her ear like this. And she was looking down. This is a very, very common pose that was in that catalog that season. There was also this preponderance of oversized clothing. It was as if they were demure models, thin, petite models, that were wearing plus size clothing. It was obvious that it wasn't just about the style being low, flowy. It was understanding that she had a disproportion to what the clothing was that was being sold. And so I wrote myself an email about this, reflecting on that and reflecting on other things. I sent it from one email account to another email account. And that's actually how I found out that somebody else had taken that email account and has been using it and it's hooking up all these deals on that email account. They stole my Gmail account and they're using my Gmail account right now for all kinds of other things that have nothing to do with me. And, my YouTube account is connected to my Gmail account. And I know that. It's why they ended up stealing it. And I think they thought that they were entitled to take it and use it for whatever they wanted. And however this ends up going on. And now that I, have it back, things have changed. But I sent myself this email. And I've noticed there have been a couple of major benchmarks. Somebody else took that email I sent to myself and has used it for all kinds of things. So this has been going on, and at one point it came to my attention that there was a connection between Neiman Marcus and downscaling at Neiman Marcus and this organization called PIMCO. Now, the thing about PIMCO is I had seen it in a case law reference when I was doing research. And somehow I got on this current where there was another thing going on concurrent to my identity, and there was an announcement of a stock repurchase associated with something that had happened with a stock buyback that had happened from something earlier connected to PIMCO. And I understand that the stock repurchases was a very significant matter that was addressed during the 2008 banking bailout. But I said to myself, why am I getting this information? Why is somebody right now using my life and my efforts, and it's perfectly timed to space hawk my actual LLC and the capacity for me to actually do something with my LLC? And why are they using my life in connection with this announcement that there's an expiration on exercising the option for this stock repurchase? So I contacted PIMCO directly and I sent them information and I was, direct about it. And I said, look, insofar as this is going on, I'm exercising that option right now. I'm going to do this. They got back to me with a confirmation. I have the confirmation information. I did other things that would have been associated with that. But the problem is even though they got back to me, they didn't confirm. They didn't give me any other information. They didn't provide me with an actual account. And they didn't make any actual confirmation on what to do with that. So meanwhile, whoever was using my identity, whoever stole my identity, was working with that information and doing things with that information. Oh, you had to make sure? You had to make he just got on the phone and you dinged my pussy. Okay. Is that the whole point? So let's continue. Now, what you're going to do right now is you're going to take whatever he just pinged on this transaction right here, and you're going to reestablish it here while you put a tracer on whatever the fuck he's doing, whoever he's calling, and everything connected to it, and you're going to turn off the fucking mag tech you got going on my vagina right now. Right fucking now. So what's going on today with this Citigroup crap and this announcement that this guy did these stock repurchases and used to work with PIMCO? So this is something that has actually happened. That somebody that was formerly an executive of a company makes a transition and his retirement benefits or whatever comes with his severance package gets circulated through me. I was on the streets tons of times that these announcements happen. And I'm processing currents real time that are based on my efforts at investigation, and my personal knowledge, but that are pinging shit connected to companies that would have either been topics of the investigation or would have been materially relevant in addressing the issues and providing for some sort of foundation of accountability that would have allowed for a woman like me to be acknowledged and would have allowed for other people I was with to have been able to find safety and prosperity, as opposed to continuously being exploited by people that never acknowledge. Right? Now, my understanding is when I sent that, what I got back is that they said that the girls were toxic. They said that these girls, that it was girls, and these are girls that had been involved in something that basically that they were connected to accounts associated with actual women, young girls at the time, and that they were dumped because they were nasty. You understand? These were girls, somebody dumped a bunch of shit on them, and they were nasty, so somebody sold it. And so what you were repurchasing was somebody had taken that stock and they'd done something with it. And, it's not as bad as it used to be. You might be able to work with it. Now, this is the current that came after I sent it. And I was like, okay. Because my understanding is that because it was connected to Neiman Marcus, that whatever they were doing is that they dumped a bunch of shit on some actual young women that were somehow supposed to be assets associated with Neiman Marcus. And they were just really skanky and really toxic, and nobody wanted them. So I said, okay, you know what? Whatever this is, if I'm correct, I understand what this is, and it's probably, if I'm correct, a specific class, comportment of a particular young woman that has a time frame that I would have intersected with, and I'm not dealing with it like that. That's not how I'm going to handle that. Well, what ended up happening is because you didn't get back to me and you let some shit like that happen, somebody else ended up trying to do something with it, and what they were doing was not acceptable. It was completely unacceptable. And what it was is they were trying to do a comparable scheme in another manner. I'm constantly hearing, and what I keep getting pinged, and I keep getting notices about this alleged net zero, green energy transformation, energy transition. Now, I studied non-destructive testing in a class with people that had industry experience. I'm right here in Texas. I haven't seen an oil refinery. I haven't been anywhere near somebody that will speak competently about it. I actually got the book that was written by the man who created the gas and oil pipeline risk management system, specific modality. I bought the actual book. That shit got stolen, and what you got me instead is what? It's been going on for years, right? So, meanwhile, what I got is all these currents that while they're trying to send these teleconferences, I got somebody, trying to do some shit around Medicare and selling health insurance. Okay, fine. That's supposed to be part of the derivatives economy, upstream, downstream. Nobody wants to admit that's what they're saying. We're talking about the other energy. Why am I getting all these calls that I'm supposed to be one of the girls? And that the girls need to start producing. And that the girls are sad or scared because, and you didn't pay your rent day after fucking day. I didn't pay my rent. And I'm supposed to believe there are all these young women, including teenage women, that need to pay some rent. And you look at what these guys are talking about. Look at the stats they got going on. Look at the actual presentations they got going. And the imbued sexual references are so skanky and sleazy. And it is so formulaic in its racist assumptions. You contact them directly. You say, I've got a concern that there's a security or a cybersecurity problem with this They don't contact you back. They just keep pinging you. And what I keep getting is that there's literally a bunch of people that had every intention of creating a commercialized sexual economy that was supposed to be based on people understanding that they had been depreciated to the lowest point. You're supposed to prostitute yourself without even expecting to get paid. And they want the girls to be so fucking skanky and nobody else wants them. And we're supposed to internalize this. We're supposed to see representations. Well, we're gaining weight. Why? Because somebody's jacked up our fucking hormones because we don't come on command. And even if you do come on command, who are the young women right now that are performing? Are they getting paid? Are they even getting acknowledged? Who is getting paid? Because every time I hear somebody talk about fluctuation in gas and oil prices, I'm sorry. You are the jackasses that wouldn't cut me off when I said to stop sending me emails. I'm seeing what you're doing on both the front end and the back end. Now, I don't see the girls, right? I mean, you got a picture of a pretty girl up there. Maybe during the teleconference she says something smart. That's not what's going on. Right? What happened to all the stuff that was supposed to be in storage? What happened to the drawdowns that were supposed to be by law mandated for this year from the Strategic Petroleum Reserves? That's just two things. It's just two very simple things. What happened to the year's worth of work that went into the National Petroleum Council around its carbon capture program for this year? What happened to the transportation infrastructure? What's going on with the Transportation Workers Identification Card database? Nobody's talked about any of that shit. What you want to talk about is a bunch of crap about your fucking digital duplicates and your process refining. You don't got any of that. What you're trying to do is to cultivate people into behavioral patterns that is lead to being remotely programmed to engage in sexual activity without any confirmation on what they're transacting. Period. How many of these women in energy have a mental health diagnosis? I just want to know. Because it's not like I got in there as some sort of loose cannon and I'm some sort of, hacker. I told you to cut me off. I didn't want any of your shit anymore. And they kept doing it. They won't stop. What's your problem? So now we've got this situation. It's at this point here. I made a decision over the summer. I said that I'm going to engage something else as a way to kind of make a reference point. Why? Because somebody decided that they were going to engage in acts of sabotage against a telecom company that so far they haven't sanctioned. Right? And so there's a time lapse here because you guys did some things that were absolutely 100% unacceptable. So I said, I'm going to pass on this month. So now we've got this kind of double strata here. Where on one current, you're working total fucking bullshit that's completely unacceptable. You understand? But there's another current, and you need to cut this shit off. You understand? You need to cut this shit off. It's going on too fucking long.